and subscribe.
Fight fans, and welcome to a special show we are doing today. And I've got a great guest with me back once again, Rob Boxing Shrew. And I'm pleased to say the last time Rob Boxing Shrew was on with me, it was for the Usyk Fury preview, and we got the prediction bang on. So that's what we've got you back on, and it's a great way to start, mate. So how are you doing anyway?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having me on. A little bit last minute, wasn't it, mate? Bloody hell.
I know. Sorry about that, mate. Well, what it was, I put this the show what we're going to do now. I put this tweet out earlier, and I think I'm blowing up the internet right now. To be honest, with about
You're
these.
pissed off now.
I ain't pissed off nobody. Don't worry about that. I like to stay. I like to stay friendly with everyone these days. So
seems to be me doing that at the minute.
I do notice your tweets, and I thought you're the perfect guest to get on as well, because I've seen your I say criticisms of this fight. It's not particularly a criticism, but you've got some very valid points and opinions as regards what you think of this. So we'll crack on with what the debate's going to be with this show. The card has been announced for April 26, Saturday, April 26 at the Spurs Stadium for Chris Eubank Jr. versus Benn. What do you think of the card?
The card? I think the card's all right. I saw your tweet this morning about the comparison with the original one before the fight got pulled for obvious reasons. So, yeah, chalk and cheese, isn't it? I think the fact it's a stadium fight, you got the Saudi money behind it. If you'd have said to a lot of people 2 years ago, this is what the card would have been, they'd have been so happy with it. But I think we've been so spoilt recently with, headliners opening the show. I just feel, yeah, we've got a bit greedy, a bit spoilt with it. I don't mind it. Anthony Yard, Lyndon Arthur 3 is something that I didn't expect to see. Probably one I'd stick on the list of trilogies we never really wanted or needed, but you never know. It's 1-1, isn't it? If it's fair, it's fair. What did you think when it first got announced? There was a few surprises, weren't there?
Well, I'm actually of the opinion I quite like the card, in all honesty, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think what's happened is we've been spoilt with what we've had from Turkey Al Sheikh already. I mean, even the one coming up in February, fantastic card. Do I think this is brilliant? The one coming up in April 26? No, I don't. But do I think that it's a very solid card on British soil? Absolutely. I mean, I'll read the fights out now, as you said. Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arthur 3. Firstly, I'd like to say, yeah, it's a trilogy as regards probably not the trilogy we wanted to see, but exactly what you said. It's 1-1. And even though Lyndon Arthur took the first one on points, Anthony Yard destroyed him in the second one. So, there wasn't really a lot of call, because people just thought that Anthony Yard is the better fighter, and what happened in the second one should have realistically happened in the first, with the way the script was going.
Can I make a comparison there?
Yeah.
Would you watch Wardley Clark 3? Because it's a similar story, isn't it?
Good point.
And you probably wouldn't.
No.
Would you?
No, to be honest with you, no. And yeah, that's a valid point. No, I wouldn't. I mean, it's just one of those fights for me that they've picked it because of it's, two British fighters. Who actually is involved with Callum Smith on the other card, and I think they're just looking at two British fighters to get on. And I'm perfectly fine with it, because I think the other fights what I'm coming on to now, Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna, that's a really, really good fight for me. I think that could be a very good one.
Yeah.
Chris Billam Smith versus Brandon. Was it Brandon Glanton? That's a bit of an unknown fight for me. Really, I'm not too hot on that one. But I think Vidal Riley versus Chev Clark is another good fight. And the thing that people haven't picked up on here, there's probably still one or two more fights going to be added to this card.
Yeah. There's no way Vidal Riley and Chev Clark open that fight. That fight card. No way.
But exactly. And the thing is, with Vidal Riley and Chev Clark, I'm sure that fight has been touted before, hasn't it? Really, for that fight to happen. So when you look at it, you know, I mean, what would you say is your pick of the bunch of the undercard?
Probably Liam Smith and McKenna. I think Liam Smith's definitely got a chip on his shoulder, point to prove, because he wasn't 100% when he went into that Eubank fight. I think he dropped the weight way too late. I think he even made a point of that after the fight. He got destroyed when he shouldn't have been. Obviously, he'd hurt his ankle. He then pulled out of the Josh Kelly fight extremely last minute, didn't he?
Yeah,
On the Wembley Dubois Joshua card, wasn't it?
yeah.
So, and he's managed to bag himself what looks like an initial one fight deal with Matchroom.
Yeah,
Stadium fight. Fair play to him. Like, he's still a name, isn't it? And he's got a banging ring walk, so that'll go well in the Spurs Stadium. I've been myself, and the acoustics are brilliant. So I'd probably go with that one. I think that'll be all action, won't it?
yeah. I totally agree. I mean, like you just said as well, Spurs Stadium. That stadium will be absolutely packed to the rafters. It'll just be a brilliant atmosphere. And I was going to pick up as well. There was talk of Adam Azim possibly hitting that card, but from what I understand now, Adam Azim is not going to be on that card because obviously he's fighting Lipinet, but I think it's too close to Ramadan. So even if he gets through Lipinets, he won't be on that card anyway in time because of obviously with his training camps and that. So who else do you expect to be on the card?
I think it'd be probably a couple of the younger lads, the young prospects. They've got plenty of lads coming through. Um, in London. You know, like I know Lidard's fighting on an next gen, but you know,
Yeah,
fighters like Lidard, they've got plenty down there, haven't they, that they can bring through.
yeah,
Maybe is Boston's on Junaid Boston's on the card as well. So if they get
yeah,
through, you know, that they could easily put them on. I mean, if Adam Azim was going to go on at short notice after he fights, yes, obviously Ramadan's got in the way, but you know, for the lads who aren't um you know, celebrating that
mm,
and
yeah,
practicing that, then they may be okay to get on it. But I mean, there's no female fight either, is there? So you'd imagine Eddie likes a female fight on a stadium card. I know, you know, you can go into the Saudi thing of women's boxing, but it is in England, so I don't see why they wouldn't put on. I don't know, maybe a world title women's fight as well. Just you throw me there. You didn't put that on the schedule.
that's so. No, but I think really like that. That's what they should aim to go down. Like, I mean, it's like you say, it's on British soil. Whatever like the Saudi things are with that's up to them. But like it is on British soil, so why not put a women's fight on it? But when you look at this card on April 26th compared to what we had, which would have been October the 8th before of 2022, that card read Felix Cash versus Connor Coyle,
Yeah.
Galal Yafai versus Rodriguez Garcia, Shannon Courtney versus Gemma Ruig, Mary Romero versus Ellie Scottney, and Harleem Eubank versus David Martin Campillo.
Yeah, it's shit in
Campello.
it. Yeah, it's poor. Yeah,
I
really poor.
mean, exactly. When you compare this card to that, and that card was going to sell out the O2 Arena in double quick time than what it's ever done before, and you know it was going to do massive numbers on pay per view. What are people moaning at?
I know.
Can you
I
tell
know.
me what people are moaning at? Do you think it's just the case we've been spoilt?
Yeah, there is that, and you got to remember as well. An undercard for a stadium fight is always going to be better than a Saturday night at the O2 as well. Regardless if it's you know, pay per view or not. I know the first scheduled fight was on the zone pay per view, but you know there weren't 80,000 seats selling either. There was probably 20,000. So and
Yeah.
one of them was mine, which I'm still bitter about. I had my train, my hotel, my ticket sorted.
Oh,
Luckily, I was able to get most of the money back. But yeah, anyway, yeah. What about the main event?
well, I was coming on to that next. I mean, it's a fight really that I know you've got very strong opinions on it. I'm of a case of what's happened has happened. However they've done it, they've cleared Conor Benn now. We've all got our opinions of what happened. Is it just a case of let bygones be bygones? We move on. The fight's happening. We just crack on with it, or do you think it's still a disgrace that this fight's happening?
Um, a disgrace that the fight's happened is probably a bit of a stretch because how many fighters get banned or don't get banned and fail drugs tests and carry on with their career? So you know, that does happen, unfortunately, and will happen again and again and again. Dennis
Yeah.
McCann will come back. Alicia Baumgardner, quite recently popped, and she pretty much cleared herself. Conor Benn, it feels different with Conor Benn because the way he's dealt with it. I mean, to this day, we still don't know, and he has never explained how that was in his system. And now he's clear. Like the British Boxing Board of Control were very, very strict on this, despite UCAD, VADA, the WBC, Matchroom, Benn coming out with their own rulings. The British Boxing Board of Control really dug their heels in, and I fucking admired them for it, because I thought, no, you will not have a license in this country until you present this invisible document that's never been seen, and present how that shit was in your system, because you didn't pop
Correct. Yeah.
once, you popped twice. Like, this wasn't one piss sample that they had in two tubes and they tested it. It was two separate, specimens of urine over a period of time. Like, I can go for a piss now, it'd be different to in the morning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And he's never accounted for that. So then when I feel like I'm rumbling here.
No, it's fine, mate. I love it.
And then when you see him confront fighters, in particular Chris Eubank, and have this energy of, I'm gonna rip your head off. Are you for fucking real? Like, you are the reason the first fight didn't happen in the first place. Chris Eubank made that weight that you wanted to boil him down to. He made that weight, and you still wanted to go in there performance enhanced. And yeah, the energy was just so off. You would have thought Chris Eubank had been the one who'd failed, the way they've
Yeah.
handled it. Chris
Yeah. Yeah.
Eubank has never mentioned the drugs in any face to face. I don't know if it's contractual or he thinks I better not mention it because it'll cost me a few quid. It's just weird. Like, if I was fighting someone who'd already robbed me of millions because they'd failed, I'd be screaming it from the rooftops. Every interview, I'd be calling him a drugs cheat, but he never mentions it. I don't know. It just stinks. And now the fact that this has made the fight bigger, and they're going to make even more millions off the back of him pissing dirty twice, it just stinks, mate, for me.
Well, the old saying is controversy creates cash, and that is certainly what's happened here. You're right; it's going to sell bigger than what it did before. Well, clearly is. That's why they're going to the Spurs stadium. I think there's going to be more and more casual boxing fans involved in this fight as well, watching it,
Yeah.
whether it be at the stadium, pay per view. It's massive. I agree with a lot with what you say, and I mean, for me, I think we spoke touch on this before. We've always said drug cheats. If you're found guilty, you should be out the sport. But the problem is, they always, whether it's A or B samples or whatever, they always seem to find a way back into the sport.
Everyone in prison's innocent. Remember that, Darren.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It's just one of them things where it's going to continue on forever. You touched on the Dennis McCann thing there. Could I sit here confidently now saying that's it, he's done? I've talked about this with a lot of people. Could I sit here confidently say that's it, he's done in the sport? No, because I do feel he will be back. Even though we've read all the things on social media about what he's failed on, and this is really bad. He shouldn't have taken this. This is a really bad thing he's had in his system here. I think it will carry. I think you're always going to have aspects of this in the sport where people find a way to get things in the system to enhance themselves. But this fight is going to be huge. It's going to be on April 26th. It's going to be at the Tottenham Stadium. What is your prediction? Who do you think wins?
I think I was on a Twitter space the other day about this, and I got asked. First of all, I got asked, "Do you hate Conor Benn?" And I said, "No, I don't hate Conor Benn. I've never met him, but like, I just hate drug cheats."
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think Conor Benn's got 4 rounds to land the power that suddenly disappeared, and then if not, I don't see him. I mean, if it happens, it happens. Fair enough. I'll lift my hands up, but I just can't see him beating Eubank over 12 rounds. I just think he is bigger, and that it's not even a power thing for me. It's more the range. I just think Eubank can pick him off, and he's going to win so many rounds. Because despite Eubank being over the hill, and in my opinion, I like him, but he's quite overrated, or certainly in his own mind. But
Yeah.
I just think he's just too big and rangy, and he is still quick. I don't know. I would go for Eubank on points unless Conor Benn finds the power that he only had pre drugs pop. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think Eubank will win the fight. I think he'll win on points. I think he's just got that bit too much experience for Conor Benn. Inactivity with Conor Benn since he come back, he looks like he hasn't got the power he had. We can all have assumptions of why that is, but he doesn't look like he's got the power that he had. Chris Eubank, apart from the Liam Smith one's got a pretty solid chin where he got caught flush in the Liam Smith fight, and he got stopped. I think it's going to be where Ben will come in to try and take Eubank out, and I feel Eubank will want to try and take Ben down the stretch. But it is a fascinating fight. I mean, I'm glad we've still, I'm glad it's finally over where all the controversy and back and forward of all the social media. Well, Conor Benn will still probably keep posting things of Chris Eubank Jr. on social media to carry on
Which is
building the
weird,
fight.
really, considering New Year's Eve he was having a social media ban.
Yeah, I keep seeing your posts. Everyone needs to check your posts out about that. I keep seeing them where every time he puts something, you remind him of these social media ban. I do see that. Yeah, very good.
Thanks. A
So
few people have said, "Please leave it now." I'm like, no, absolutely not.
have you had anything back off him yet?
No. A few people have said, "I'm surprised he hasn't blocked you," and I just replied, "Well, I'm surprised he's allowed to box in a British ring." So
I was actually thinking that, like, when I had a look whether you was like you could still follow him or vice versa, and yeah, you're still there. And I thought, I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm surprised he hasn't blocked you, because I saw some people share before where they've put the little screenshot of Conor Benn's blocked them, but you've done really well, mate, not to be blocked. Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I could write my most high profile one was Oscar De La Hoya. And all I did was I didn't even know he'd done it. I went to check out one of his tweets the one day, and he'd blocked me. And I thought, what have I ever done to Oscar De La Hoya? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a Hall of Famer, and I work in recruitment. So, and I looked back and I found it, didn't I? I won't show you I'll show you when we're done. But basically, do you remember Triller? When Triller had the boxing,
yeah.
when Triller first came in with all that silly money that came from nowhere and disappeared just as quickly, Oscar De La Hoya was on commentary, and I'll be honest, he was off his nut. And I shared a picture of something that reminded people that he was on the gear. Let's put it that way. and I just did it for a laugh because everyone was saying it, but he must have seen it. So yeah, Oscar, if you're listening to Darren's podcast, please unblock me.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a good start, mate. I'm not sure whether I'm in Oscar's territory yet, whether he'll be checking out my videos, but good try. Appreciate that,
Shout
mate.
out the golden boy.
Yeah. Well, so basically, we've summed it up. The old card pretty much was trash. The new card is decent. The problem is we've just been spoilt, haven't we? That is the problem. We've just been spoilt with Turkey Al Sheikh, Riyadh season, now ring cards, and that's the long and short of it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah.
Do you think it's good for boxing if Eubank beats him now?
Do I think it's good for boxing if Eubank beats him? Because of, obviously, the Conor Benn scandal leading to the fight, you mean?
Yeah.
I think most people want Chris Eubank to win. It would probably do the sport justice for what has happened, really, going forward. I mean, I've got my opinions with Conor Benn. I think there was something very suspicious, but yeah, I would say it would do the sport justice. I think there'll be a lot of people rooting for Chris Eubank Jr. to beat Conor Benn, to sort of where you're at a stage of where would it teach him a lesson type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I was on the Conor Benn hype train. I paid a couple of times to go and watch him in Leeds, Liverpool.
Yeah.
I went to one of the weigh-ins. I was a fan. Like he had me. But it just leaves such a bitter taste, doesn't it, when you see the before and after and the energy he gives. I do think it would be good for the sport if Eubank wins. But hey, who would have thought so many people will want Chris Eubank Jr. to win a fight? It's funny how things work, isn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's had his critics in the past, hasn't he? For the way he's been and that. But yeah, most people. Yeah, absolutely, and that's one thing I think you can always say about him. He's always he's always protested things like that, hasn't he, about
Yeah.
clean athletes in the sport. So fair play to him for that. I think that's just about covers it, Rob. And it's great to have you on again, mate. And let's
Thank you, mate.
hope that the prediction that we've given at the end of this show is another correct one. So we'll be on a roll with that one, and we'll be getting you back on as well for the next Riyadh season card, which will be Bivol Beterbiev 2,
February
and also
22nd,
featured February 22nd. Obviously, Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, and many other fights to come on that card, which is deemed the best card ever. So I'll look forward to getting you back on, mate. And anyone watching this, I'm really interested in all your opinions. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, I'll get back to every comment because this is a really, really interesting topic. For me, don't slate this card. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but get behind this card. It's British boxing. We want to see stadiums full. We want to see arenas full. We can all have our opinions about the controversy and Conor Benn, but as regards British boxing goes and worldwide boxing, I just like to see people get behind it. So I'm interested in people's comments. And once again, Rob, thanks for coming on, mate. I appreciate your time.
No problem at all. Thanks for asking me, mate. I always appreciate it. And if I'm free, I can always jump on. No problem.
Great stuff. Thanks for coming on again, mate. Cheers. Thank you, mate.